Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the JD Photo Podcast. I got Vicky on the stream today. Vicky is an event planner. She specializes in weddings and luxury events. Now, her expertise is putting events beyond the ordinary, making them extraordinary. You do a very excellent job at doing that. So I'll let you introduce yourself really quickly and just kind of explain a little bit about what you do and how you do it and where you commonly work. And then I want us to really dive into that conversation about the timelines. I think we're having a really great convo about that. There's going to be a lot of value for both couples and photographers because we're going to be discussing how we can collaborate further and how we can bring amazing experiences not only to our couples but collaborate further and make sure that everyone's working well on site and bringing the best experience we possibly can. So Vicky, do you want to just kind of go into what you do and how you do it and when you first started, and then we'll dive straight in.
No worries. So I have been 8 years this year since I've opened my business. Started as Plush Events, which were all children's events. I started with my own children and then just grew from there, I suppose. So it's something that I wanted to do in high school, but there was no course at university. There was hospitality, but there wasn't event management at the time. So
carved your own pathway.
Yeah, so I did my thing, changed careers twice, and then had my kids, and then landed back in events and said, that's it, that's what I want to do. So, and decided I did study for a year online and so forth, and actually went into cake designers and florists and learned about their crafts, and then opened up my own. And then eventually found my way into weddings and social events and corporate, and I'm here today.
Welcome to the wedding space, eh? How are you liking it?
Love it. We're just starting the season.
I'm
alive. I'm fresh at the moment.
I find October's my busiest. I think October 20th to October 30th. So now this is the end of the busiest week I have of the year. Last week was bonkers for me. From now on out, I tend to find November starts to quiet down a little bit personally. Okay. I get a little bit more dead into the mid-December, then I kind of have a break until mid-January, and then it kind of smacks me again. February kind of comes back and gets me. But yeah, October 20th to 30th, I feel like that's the thing with the luxury event industry, right? Is it's everyone wants the same dates. Well, I say luxury. I think we don't really have a luxury event space, do we, in Perth? Not
like your Sydney and your Melbourne or Dubai and Italy, no.
But I'll say events, like large events, which is generally what I'm talking about. Everyone wants the same dates. Everyone wants those, the 21st of whatever, or I tend to find the end of every month is always the biggest, possible, and that's just what I've kind of realized. Doing it for so long, part-time, and slowly chipping away at it. I mean, look, I've been shooting a long time. I shot my first wedding, I was 18 years old. Can you believe that? Wow. I did my first wedding at 18, and I took some time off and did a couple more, 20, 21, took some more time off, and at 24, so between 24 and 28, and now I'm 28 going on 29, I've just been smashing it, just been trying to get my name out there into as many as possible, getting on the podcast and really grinding it. And it's tell you what, it's a hard industry. It's not easy. Like events are tough. So hats off to the planners, right? Like I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you stay sane and say I've done a big week of events. I can't even freaking plug this together after doing it 12, 15, 17 times. See, on my 17th episode. Can you believe that? Yeah. Wow. Pretty incredible how things just grow and change over time. So let's dive. I'll stop rambling. Let's dive straight into it. So I really want to talk about wedding timelines. So do you believe there's any such thing as a perfect wedding timeline?
No. I mean, we get it close to perfection as possible, but we've also got to be able to pivot last minute as well for last minute changes, and that's communicating maybe the changes with the guests, maybe the changes with the vendors, maybe changes with the whole scope of the wedding. So absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about what generally hinders the wedding timeline. What makes it go from really good, really fluid, and something that's going to work, something that's not going to work? What's the biggest thing that kind of prevents wedding timelines from actually working?
Unrealistic timeframes of how long things take. You got to consider if you've got a ceremony and reception at a different place, there's transport time, there's time to get into the limo. These ladies are wearing big dresses. It's not, oh, let's just sit in the car and let's go. So,
don't have unrealistic expectations of your couple. Please don't. I've got some bad ones before in the past as well. And we joke about them from time to time. But from what I hear you're saying and from what we're talking about, I feel like the unrealistic expectations is usually squishing too much in, right?
Absolutely.
There you go. All right, listen to Vicky, guys.
Too short of a time frame. So I feel that it's best to always get maybe a photographer. I know that majority of photography and videography is in hourly packages.
Yep.
To get those an extra hour or two. You're not doing this every year. You're not doing this every month. This is once in a lifetime. Maybe it's your second or third marriage, but we're not doing this repetitive every single year. So invest in the extra few hours so you can actually enjoy that day instead of 4 o'clock, bang, we're on until midnight. So
I agree. I've just revamped my packages because of that exact reason. I feel like the 8 hours was too short, so I just moved it to 9, and I just offer the 9-hour photo and video package because you have your setup time for video, which it usually takes a lot longer. So rather than offering your standard 8, I've just moved it to the 9, and people can book the 9 hours as the kind of like standard main package that most people get. And reason being is more times better. If you have that extra hour, it makes a really big difference, and it just takes that stress off the wedding day entirely. And you can have the breathing room, and there's always better to have more breathing room. Like how many times have I been, and the makeup artist, it's raining, they're trying to waterproof the hair, so they're going a little bit over, or maybe there's instances where something's been delayed, and now you're late, and because you've allowed that extra time, you can actually stay back a little bit, and it just completely removes all of the tragedies that can happen with things running over time.
But a wedding's not from the ceremony start time to the end. You've got your getting ready, and both couples are usually getting ready in 2 different spots. So that's time for photo and video to move from groom to bride to ceremony to reception. So you've got to factor in those times as well. It's not straight 6 or 8 hours from 4 o'clock ceremony starts. So those type of things to consider. And I know that everybody doesn't want the getting ready shots, but they do mean something. At the end, you'd wish that you had those photos in your album to go through. Yeah,
I think they do add a massive component to the day, especially from a video point of view when you're crafting like really detailed highlight films of the day. If you get those standard shots from the getting ready part, you can really just add a lot more narrative to the films. You can kind of just overlay the vows onto certain parts. So I can see from a photography point of view, you might not want the getting ready, but I think especially if you're going to do video, like the more footage the better. We're trying to craft really detailed films of the day. It's not easy to put something together that's really spectacular without getting that around 8 to 10 hours of footage. So I think that's like the optimal time frame to get if you are going to get video. I think shorter is a little bit more difficult. You can still make nice films, but the more footage you have, the more packed it's going to be. The more entertaining it's going to be, the more spectacular it's going to be, and the more we're able to kind of tie together. I'm going to get your thoughts, Vicky, on what do you think like the perfect length of a day is? I'm just going to check this camera out. Just pretend like just keep talking to me as I get up.
Listen, I love every single, each couple's wedding is obviously based on their emotion, their day and their feel. So, I enjoy the days that go for 18 hours. And I also enjoy the ones that are all on site and might start at 4 o'clock and go into your cocktail hour and then into your reception as well. So each one, you've got your own challenges for each style of wedding day timeline as well. It's not just the more hours that you're given, the more that you can get in as well, because you don't want to be sitting around for 3 hours after the ceremony as well.
Absolutely not. Yeah, keep going, Vicky. Keep pretending like you're talking to me.
What else can I say? So, I suppose if you've got a lot of couples are going on more of a destination vibe, and you can certainly have that in Perth and WA as well. So you can, can we start? I'm just trying to think.
I really liked what you were saying about getting the timelines in check there.
Yeah. You threw me off. Moving
my
around.
shenanigans.
No, so I mean, we've got ones that we've done on an estate before. So you've got the ceremony, then you've go into your cocktail hour and then your reception. And it's just about rejigging the day and what it looks for the couple as well. A lot of couples are wanting to attend that cocktail hour and not just throw the cocktail hour for the guests as well. So having maybe the reveal between themselves before the ceremony, getting in those shots first, and then having that ceremony, spending time at the cocktail hour, and then going into the reception and taking maybe half an hour to go sit down, relax, refresh. Guys usually change a shirt. Ladies like to, sit down and refresh, touch up makeup and hair as well, and then go into that reception part.
Get that outfit change going.
Yeah. But then you've got weddings that there's things that, culturally you need to do in the morning as well. So it's going to end up being an 18-hour event, and you've got, something's happening at the mum's house, at the dad's house, and then you're going to the ceremony.
What do you think photographers can do to capture this? Like, 'cause, that's a huge day. And I've contemplated. I've just taken it out, but I did have it in there a couple of weeks ago. But I was like, it's just silly. I was like, a full day wedding package. But then you've explained it perfectly. Like a full day wedding package is like 18 hours of shooting. And I was like, how can I do 18 hours of shooting? That's like, 20,000 images,
It's possible. They used to do it. I mean, my wedding video comes on a 2-part DVD that goes like 2.5 hours on one, 2.5 hours on the other.
So that's all the raw footage, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
Well, it's not. It was edited actually.
It was edited?
It was edited. And then we had a highlight film. But, videography and everything's changed over the years as well.
How have you seen it change? What changes?
They shortened the highlight films are shortened. Like we had so I was married in 2007. We still got a highlight film.
Yep.
Like I said, it's on DVD, yet to be put onto the laptop. So I can upload mine. But yeah, you've got that highlight film, and that's why I think it's really important to have those getting ready. At the bride's house, at the groom's house, or the bride and the groom and the groom, because they're mini events of your day.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what I deliver to my clients. I deliver the highlight film. So depending on how long they book, so 6, 8 or 12 hours. So 6 hours, it might be like a 3 to 6 minute. 12 hours, it might be a 10 to 15 minute film. That's your highlight film. And that's, got your drone footage. It's got your getting ready footage. We put the bows over it. And then you kind of get that cinematic piece that ties together. But then I also provide what I call the raw film. That might be similar to what your DVD.
Yes, it's similar, but it was still edited to a point.
Yeah.
This is a discussion I have with clients when they first come in, that couple that sits down and asks them exactly what they want. Because I know what is available now and what needs to be asked for. So if you go with the standard videography package that might only have a highlight film and 3 reels, that's not going to give you the whole day. No. And in some cultures, they want to have that whole day on. It's really important to capture bits and pieces in the morning that's happening. And I think it's, if a couple doesn't have a planner to ask these questions, that they need to ask those questions. We have special things during the day that need to be captured and really relay, this is when it's going to happen. And then maybe even have a friend or family member with them telling the videographer, you need to capture this right now. Because unless you're from that culture, or you've sat down with a couple and you've gone through exactly what's happening during the day, and then that wedding planner, if you haven't done a wedding of that culture before, to really study and understand how those weddings happen, because everybody's wedding does happen differently.
Yeah, absolutely. You said a lot of really good things there. So first thing I'm going to say is, my packages always include your ceremony, start to finish, filmed on multiple cameras tied together, your speeches, multiple cameras tied together from start to finish, your first dance, so all your formalities, tea ceremonies, whatever it might be. All of those you get start to finish. So if you have an hour ceremony, it's an hour film, your ceremony tied, and then we edit it together, multiple cameras tied together, so you're getting a start to finish product, and all my packages include that, because I think it's super important to get that, especially if you're doing formalities. Like, yes, a lot of videographers are taking those out because of how time consuming they are, and they're only providing you with the highlight films, the 5 to 10 minute highlight films. And I think, I'm kind of trying to change that, because I'm like, those are great and those are good, and that allows you to relive the day in a short and condensed version. But I think it's still quite valuable to get the start to finish products, you know, the traditional things that people used to provide. I still provide that because I think it's very important. The other thing is, I work from a client-centric point of view. So whatever the client might be wanting, so if they want the morning capsule or they want whatever, I always try and adjust my packages to meet that. So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach still. So, you know, my 9-hour package isn't going to work. We'll do a 7.5. We'll do a 10.5. We'll, you know, do whatever we have to do to meet the client where they're at and to actually provide them with a service that they're going to value and they're going to like. So yeah, I think those are the two things that I've tried to change, because I've seen videographers not do that, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really agree with it. I think it's important to include those in your packages.
I think the highlight. Listen, almost 20 years married. I don't pull out the video, the DVD every weekend or every year and have a look at it. I think I really like to have memories. So for me, it's really important to capture those memories for later on. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm able to, I mean, my kids are young. They're not interested in what our wedding day and so forth is, but one day they might be interested. To be able to watch the highlight film, they can see what it's like, but then they can go and have a look at the reception and how it's videoed and talking to people on camera that are no longer here with us. Yeah. So they can say, you know, this was your great-great-grandfather or your auntie and so forth, and
the speech
this is
you
what
give
happened.
or something like that.
And you have that in film, which you can't get from, you know, sometimes from photos. Yes, they're still images and they're great for the wall. But then you've got that video that you can hear their voice, you can feel that emotion. Yeah,
it's beautiful. I really value that. I've started to do testimonials at most weddings, so I have like a little microphone from Rode. Rode are great, so definitely check their gear out. And then I generally light it and just kind of get them to speak and give a message to the bride and groom, so that message kind of lives on. And, you know, we give that to them in the raw form, you know. So then they have that clip, and I think that stuff's so valuable, and you might not realize it in the moment. And that's, I'm getting married next year. That's what I'm telling myself is, you know, because I'm going through the same thing. And I'm like, it's really expensive. It's expensive to book a videographer, and it's expensive to book a photographer, but those memories are going to live on.
That's
know?
right.
You're going to regret it.
You're not going to be able to do that time back again.
It's once in a lifetime moment, you know.
That's exactly right. And it's not like you're getting married every year, every 6 months, or once every 10 years. This is it.
It's not a proposal. It's not.
When you consider an extra $500 or $1,000 or even $2,000 over a span of I'm married now nearly 20 years. Really, was the 500, saving the 500 back in 2007, was it worth it? No, it's not. So
I completely agree. You're not going to remember the money, and it's cliche, but it's true. It's very true.
It is. I don't remember what my videographer touched.
There you go. So spend the money, but hire us. No, but it is seriously true. It comes from an honest place. It comes from a place that I am going through the same motions as most other people. Having a wedding is expensive. It's a strain on the bank at the time, but like Vicky says, it is important to get those memories. You need those memories, or you don't need them, but you're going to want them, and they're going to bring you value, and they're going to bring you joy for decades to come, and you should be investing in it. And over the 20, 30 years, it's not going to seem like a whole lot. You're not even going to remember what it is, right?
Well, I'm the type of person that I don't look at, just today. I look at 30, 40 years' time. I think, you know, if I make it to 80 and 90, I've got something to go back and to watch, to have a look at. You know, they're my memories then. Yeah.
Yeah. How beautiful of a privilege that is. And I've had people come back to me all the time, you know, and they've said, you know, James, that photo you took of my granddad, and he's passed on now, you know, that photo's everything to me.
Exactly.
And how beautiful is that, to be able to provide someone with an image or with a video clip of someone who's passed on, but they can relive that person and touch, you know, have that experience again just from looking at an image.
Exactly, because you capture that moment in time that you're never going to be able to recreate any other way.
Yeah. So I think that's the most beautiful thing about photography and videography and weddings in general, because, you know, it's all your family and all your friends and everyone who coming together in one big space and having an amazing time. Exactly. And how can you relive that? You can't. But, you know, bringing in professionals like yourself, Vicky, you know, you're able to craft these days and these timelines and create these amazing events. Like, you know, the one you just did a crown recently, I saw. And And you did a Crystal Club one as well, I think, recently. Like, it's just like amazing, those proposals that you do and stuff. And, you know, just being able to bring these experiences together and to be able to give someone that gift of having this amazing once in a lifetime moment just come together in all that specularity. Like, yeah, I think it's just a beautiful thing. And yeah, it's great to see people do that from the planning and management space as well. And then, you know, have the videographers be able to capture it as well. But yeah, let's bring it back a little bit. Let's bring it back to the timeline. So there's a few different ways you can craft timelines for a wedding, right? You have your 6 hours, then you have your 8 hours, then you have your 12 hours, you have your 18 hours as well. So there's various ways to craft a wedding timeline, right? What do you think the most common time frame or what the most common timeline looks like? What was like a stock standard?
There's no such thing as a common timeline, and I don't look at it in terms of like, see, in a planner's view, I don't look, okay, 6 hours, it's 10 hours, it's 8 hours. For me, it's 24 hours for a wedding. Like, that's regardless whether it's starting at 4 o'clock or whether it's starting at midday, because we're pretty much on from before where hair and makeup starts. So it's about crafting their day and, you know, between ceremony and reception and the vibe. So before anything's planned, before anything's designed, I need to know how they want to feel. How do they want to be rushed? Do they want to, you know, just get it over and done with? Or do they want that feeling of, I want to spend time at the cocktail hour with my friends and family. I really want to take that time and not feel rushed. So every couple's completely different. So it's not, to me, it's not about, oh, okay, we've got a 4 to midnight wedding where we've got an experience, and that's where I suppose I plan from, is the experience and the feeling, not from a logistical sense at that very beginning part. So all the parts then come together, and then we'll send off a draft run sheet to all the vendors. We'll ask them to check through, because I think it's important. Like, you're a specialist in your craft. I'm not a photographer to know how long it's going to take your equipment out of your bag. Yes, I notice. Yes, I watch. But I don't know if something happens on your end that something's not working, how long is it going to take? So I'll put in the run sheet what I think is possible, and then that's when we have a chat. So we'll call the vendors and go through exactly what they're doing on the day, and then say, is this possible? What would happen? And we'll iron out plan A and B and C, so we know which way we're going to go. So as we work out a weather plan, we also do that with the vendors as well. And if you say to me, I don't have enough time for here, so then we'll make an adjustment.
That's amazing. I love that level of collaboration. I think like us vendors need to do that more. We need to collaborate. We need to be calling before the wedding. Like, that is so important. Like, if there's any planner involved, I always try and get on the phone with them as well and just chat through like what's going on with the day and stuff. I think that's really, really important. Yeah, like you said, you know, there's other specialties, there's other crafts, you know, videography, photography, planning, floristry, makeup. They're all specialists in their own rights, and they all have their own inputs and their own understandings of different things and different requirements as well. And exactly. I think we all need to work together and I think that's where like a planner like yourself comes in, right? You're bringing in all of those talents and bringing them together into a streamlined way.
So you need to, as a wedding planner, I need to understand. I need to understand what you do. I need to understand your timelines and your timeframes and what time's great for you to take shots and so forth. I need to know those type of details. I need to know with makeup and hair how, you know, if they want full glam, how long's the full glam going to take per bridesmaid. Those things I need to know. So I study that, and I'll go speak to the vendors and find out all the information that they need. So then it's not clients coming to me and saying, I want this, and then I'm going to, say, the makeup artist and saying, I need to ask the bride, go back to the bride to ask questions because I didn't know what to ask the bride in the first place. And then what was the point of the bride picking me to plan her wedding if I'm just going to go like up and down with the bride and the makeup artist? So, you know, we're talking about cake. I need to know. So what I went and I learned was, how do you serve a cake? A cake's a cake, but it's not just a cake.
Yeah, right.
You know, there's coffee portions, there's dessert portions, but if you're having dessert at the reception, is the caterer providing dessert, then are you going to have a second dessert, or why would you get a second dessert? So, and then if you're providing the cake as a dessert, is that plated? How much is the venue charging to plate the dessert?
Okay.
And all of this
Gotcha.
stuff.
Yeah.
So if I know all of that information and I'm speaking with the couple at our initial consultation, I'm going through all of this, and it's just a one-stop shop. So I'll go to the cake designer that I think would suit the couple's their budget and what they're thinking. At that stage, I haven't got the design. We're just looking at cakes and tasting cakes.
You're like a liaison expert.
Well, it is.
Bringing everything together.
You need to know everything. Like the florist, I can book a florist, but I need to show that to the client that I know what I'm talking about. You don't go to just the garden and pick the flowers and like, here's your bouquet. There's, they have to go to the supplier. They need to pick up the flowers. They need to condition them. They need to keep them at a certain temperature. Then they need to prepare those flowers. They need to put them together. So that's what when it's, I don't want somebody who costs an arm and a leg, but you don't understand how that arm and a leg is formed to get that price. So I think there needs to be more education in our industry.
Oh, there absolutely does, doesn't it? Like people need to really begin to understand like how much time actually goes into things, I think. Exactly. Like it's a lot, that's a common phrase I see on the Facebook groups all the time is, people posting in find a photographer Perth. I'm looking for a photographer who doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Yeah. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, are you looking for someone who's going to put less effort in, or are you going to look for someone who's going to work for minimum wage? Are you looking for someone who's a student? Like, what are you actually looking for? Like, do you actually know how much time goes into it? Because I know if I do a photo and video project for a 10-hour wedding day, that can be anywhere between 70 to 100 hours of work. Like that's a lot of work. And, I run it like a business, and then I start to tally it down and I'll break down the hourly rate. And I'm like, if I'm going to completely get all of this covered by staff and we're going to be at a loss, that's not a profitable business, like you can't run it like that. And would my couples want me to run it like that? And the answer's probably no, but I think a lot of the time they just don't understand. They don't understand that there is these processes, not only with photography, but floristry. And then, all the other ones, like that process that you explained to me about, the flat, like I had no idea that's what goes into it, but it does go into flowers.
It. Yeah. And that's not even in the transport of getting it to the venue. And to make sure that, if it's 42 degrees, we're installing like last minute before the first guests arrive so they don't all die on site. So I'm thinking that the florist knows that, and we've got to work as a team to make it all work. I've had a long time ago, I had a client that said, well, the photographer's too expensive. He's only there for 8 hours. But it's not just 8 hours. No. But it's not their fault. They thought it's just an 8-hour package because they were in their service guide. It said 8 hours. That's right, yeah. But it's not 8 hours. It's the editing. It's the going through the photos. It's going through. I know photographers that have taken 40,000 photos at a wedding. Yep. And to go through every single one of those photos, you give me my phone and I'm done by 10 photos going like, nah, see you later. I don't want to look at it. It's a brutal process. The post-production photography, photography is getting easier. The video is the brutal part nowadays. Look, what is actually, in my opinion, the most expensive and most time-consuming is the bloody file storage, because that is enormous file sizes. Yeah. To put it in perspective, I've just upgraded to a $4,000 storage solution, an 18 terabyte NAS that does an automatic backup. We're 50% through this year. 50% through. So, you know what I mean? Like that, exactly. Just there's the storage capacity and the time to go through it, archive it, clear out the things carefully, because if you clear out the wrong things, you're stuffed. So, it's just a process involved on not only the front end, but the back end, behind the scenes, post-production, and then behind the scenes on the post-production again of the archiving. Like, it's enormous. There's an entire process there that is not even spoken about and explained to consumers. So me learning about your craft, then I'm able to explain to the couple why they're paying for those prices. Yeah, that's it. So I can justify why. And then that's how we collaborate with the vendors that have got the same mentality as us in workmanship and communication. Like for me, I just can't handle when I don't get an email back for 2-3 weeks. Like for me, there's no reason. I've managed several weddings and there'll be an out of office on with what time I'm back in the office. Every client, every vendor, they know when to expect an email from. So it's those little things there that I'll collaborate and I know who to go to because I know that if the client needs to speak to a photographer, videographer about like the emotional aspect of what their wedding, because I do like that connection. I think a photographer needs to have a connection with the couple.
Oh, absolutely.
So they understand and they have that feeling on the day that there's no who's this person in front of me taking photos. So
we have a little comment from the Art of Us, wedding photography. So this is so true. People really don't understand the after work involved. Great listen. Thanks so much, Hannah. Really appreciate Hannah's the Art of Us photography. She's just jumped in. She's an amazing photographer. So really appreciate that. Let us know if you have any other questions, guys. But yeah, I completely agree. Rapport is what is the technical term that I use for it, and that's what I call it. You need a relationship. The way you get photography to be good photography is you have that connection and you allow the couples to just experience the moment. That's how good photographers work. I had the pleasure of having some really amazing photographers come on the podcast and speaking to them. It's just changed how I think about photography entirely. And it's that connection that you get with people.
Exactly.
Same as a counselor. When you're a counselor, you want to build a relationship immediately, and that allows people to ease up, and you're able to kind of explore their thoughts and they're thinking a little bit more. The same in photography. You're able to ease someone up. You're able to get photos that appear natural, and appearing natural is good photography in my opinion, because you're not so static, and it captures the moment in the essence. You're capturing the true feeling of that moment, and I think that's really, really powerful as a photographer. So that's what I try to do. I always try and build relationships with people.
Yeah. So
from the get-go.
Do you think it's important for there needs to be a lot more education in our city about what it takes? Vendors, they're not charging exorbitant rates for midnight pack downs.
Yeah.
They're charging that rate because they've gone home.
Yep.
They're getting up in the middle of the night and they're going back.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
I think,
as you as a couple that's questioning the amount that they're charging, would you get up at midnight to go pick up something and then go, take it back to the warehouse and break up your sleep? There's things like that. Or are they missing an event to be at your wedding, an event to pack down? So there needs to be more education to couples to say there's a reason why it's charged. We don't just throw out fees and say, okay, $1,000 for this and that's it.
I think there needs to be more education. I think it's especially the event space. It's a very new space, and it's a space that not many people really understand and know. I think people get lost in it. I always speak to people coming into business, and they're like, we're going to start a business, and we're going to, have all this amazing kind of glamorous kind of industry, and then they start to get into it. And I usually run into them a couple of months later, and they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, how's it going? And I'm like, yeah, not so well. And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? Oh well, I had to get this Calendar subscription that was like $20 a month, and I was like, here we go. And I'm like trying to explain to them, like, that's why business costs so much. Like, my overheads are enormous. They're enormous.
Yeah.
And, it's just, it is the way the world works. The world works on subscriptions and hourly rates. And as a business owner, you need to calculate that, and you need to make sure at the end of the day, you're actually making profit beyond what you would usually get in a standard career. Because if you're not making profit beyond what in a standard career, what are you doing in business? Because business is hard, right? You want to be making a decent salary, right? If you're doing this industry. And if you're not, you're probably better off to do something else, because like you said, you don't want to be getting up in the middle of the night to pack down stuff. I don't want to be, stressing out in the morning because, I could not have imported photos and I'm checking 60 times through the week and stuff, like there's a huge process involved. And
there is.
And I think then there needs to be more education, not only around how much time we put into it, but how businesses actually work and why there's actually a cost behind it. And the cost isn't just because, we're putting a lot of time into it, is because we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to operate. Some of us spending hundreds. I'm not spending hundreds, but some big, large businesses, warehouses, multiple staff, they're spending a lot of money just to operate, and they need to charge accordingly. And that's just the way it is, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, you can't expect to get things, like cheap, I guess.
Yeah, I understand coming into the industry that you reduce how much. I mean, it's based on experience as well. I mean, there's coordinators that come in, there's wedding planners that come into the industry as well that charge half the price that what I do, and I'm not the top of the top in Perth in terms of rates as well. So you've got to place yourself in experience and so forth as well.
That's true.
And that's how you get experience, by having those reduced rates. But you understand pretty fast that some of the prices that the newbies are charging, that's complete burnout, and
But newbies get stuck in it until they're not newbies anymore.
Yeah,
That's what I
right.
see all the time, especially in the photography space. People just get stuck, and I have to say, like, clients can, or couples or whoever it might be, can be responsible for that. The amount of times I get caught and people call me and they'll spend 30 minutes on the phone with me, and then at the end of the phone call they'll drop a line and they'll be like, someone said they'll do it for $5,000, will you lower your $7,000 package to $5,000? And I'll just hang up. I'm like, that is so rude. Just don't do that. Like, you diminishing the market in so many different ways. Like, you know, I got a canopy installed. That was the most recent investment I did. That was about $5,000. I didn't go around calling up every single canopy shop asking, trying to, you know, negotiate $500 less per phone call until I found the cheapest one. Like, just like, you're encouraging us to provide you with a lesser service, and that's ultimately what it's going to do. You know,
it won't happen. I politely decline, and my rate is my rate for a reason. But
it's very rude to do that, and I just think, you know, have to call it out, because, you know, it's unfortunate that people feel like, you know, they can do that, and they can just call around and you know, kind of treat photography vendors like that. And I think the problem in the art space is we're not business owners most of the time, and people do just say, yes, I'll do it, I need the money, I'll do it. And I think that's a really big problem that's happening at the moment, and a lot of people are getting stuck in it, and they're getting bullied into, or, you know, bullied into lowering their rates, and they kind of get stuck in that zone of working for, you know, really poor wages, overworking themselves, then burning out and falling out of the industry. That's why it's such a fast turnaround industry. Like, I've seen photographers come in and fall out faster than they come in, you know, all the time.
I think a lot of people come into the industry as more like a side business. Not many come in as this is my full-time, this is my full-time, this is my full-time passion. I've got a full-time job. I really love doing this, and I'm going to do it on the side.
That's true.
So, you know, but the expenses are still there if people have home offices and so forth, but they haven't really done the research into what it's going to cost and maintain. And then if you haven't worked for somebody, if you haven't done your research and got all your beds lined up before you start, that's where you find that you burn out, and you're doing it for peanuts as well. So Absolutely. Then you've got two types of industries in the one industry, with one that's got a whole heap of side hustle culture, and then you've got the ones that, like myself, and there's many other wedding planners that are full-time.
Yes.
That's our passion, that's our everything, and we're trying to elevate the playing ground and say, you know, this is a level of wedding planning service. And then you've got ones that I wouldn't mind taking a wedding once a month, and that's fair enough. Everybody will find there are plenty of clients in Perth and Western Australia and Australia that everybody will find their planner, everybody will find their photographer. I won't take you on if you ask me for a discount, because my service doesn't change. Yep. You having your venue booked already doesn't do anything for me at all. I might save a few hours in finding you a venue, but I still got to contact the venue manager. I've still got to have all that communication, and the closer it gets to the time, the more communication that we have, scheduling your food, not food trials, I've lost the word now, but your tastings. So your tastings and then working out the menus and so forth. That doesn't happen because we say, okay, well, we discounted this much because you already found your venue. Now I'm not going to do anything else. We're still taking over. We're managing it.
Yes.
Finding a venue was the smallest piece of the puzzle overall.
Yes.
So, no, I don't, because do I then say to this client, I'm sorry, I don't take your call at 11 o'clock?
Yeah.
And then one client's got a different experience to another, because now I'm saying, well, no, you've reduced, you wanted my prices reduced, now I'm not taking your calls.
Yes, that's it. And that's where the problems start to arise, isn't it? And it starts to get really messy. Look, I'm not big on discounting my rates. Look, I would negotiate timeframes. Not even negotiate. Let's say, like I said, I have set packages. I have 4 packages to make it simple nowadays. But if someone wants a 6-hour photo and video package, which isn't included, I'll include that. I'll make a package up. Am I going to give you a lower rate? No, it's not. It's not a lower rate, but it's a customizable package. It's a customizable experience. And let's say I have a wedding album in one of my packages, which I don't, but let's say I did. We could take it out. Stuff like that can shift your packages and from my point of view, adjust and move it around. But I think the one thing you really don't want to do, and photographers don't want to do, is start to get bullied into lowering your rates like that. I think it's, you know, it's really not okay, and people need to start being a little bit stronger and being stern like yourself, and say, no, we're not discounting. This is what we provide. This is what we do, and we're going to do it. We're not going to discount. And I think that's a really difficult thing to do. It's hard for me to do it at the moment now that I'm trying to push the next bracket, and it's hard every time you push a bracket. You know,
it is. Well, it's almost starting a new business.
Every
bracket
time
you go up,
yeah.
You're starting a new business as well.
Yep. I'm going through a little phase like that at the moment, and it's scary, you know, because but you got to push through it. You got to do it. That's what I remind myself. You know, like I have staff now, and staff's really difficult as well, because now that's a whole nother thing where people are relying on me to pay their part-time rates. You know, 20 hours a week is kind of what I push out, and it's a lot. And you know, to get that amount of revenue through, to get that amount of events through, the weddings, and you know, there's a lot of stress involved in there as well. But I think everyone goes through it. Everyone goes through it in different ways who are in this industry, and they're trying to push through. And I think you just need to remind yourself, however you're going to do it is to stay sane and to you know, just remind yourself that you know what you're doing, right? If you gotten this far, you should know what you're doing.
Exactly. It's finding that confidence and know that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Like, be comfortable feeling uncomfortable. Business isn't about sitting there and feeling comfortable. If it was, we'd have a lot of comfortable business owners just smiling away, taking long lunch breaks. But the reality is, having a business, you're working 16, 18 hours a day.
Yes.
And you're managing staff, and you're managing roles, and you're managing multiple events at the same time. And you have got a lot of stress on you. It's about trying to find the way that works for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, ask me, people go, oh, you should meditate. I can't meditate. There's no way I can meditate. Like, I'm sitting there going, I've got like 500 things to do.
Yeah.
But give me music, give me my decks, and like, I'll go through the stress, no problem.
You're a DJ?
I can actually.
Good one.
I think it's important as a wedding planner to be able to do things, know
you have
how
to
to
jump
do
on the decks
things.
of the wedding sometime.
Like, exactly.
DJ
we did
hasn't
have a
showed up.
DJ that was, we had a DJ,
Oh
he contacted me in the afternoon, and he said, I'm late, my flight's running late from Bali. I'm not going to be there that hour before like you wanted me to. And he had one of his mates drop off all the equipment. So I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was one of the staff members. Anyway, dropped off the equipment and so forth. They bought his outfit to get changed into because he's off a plane, and literally we were on the phone and I went, where are you? He's like, I'm going through customs now.
Wow.
Like,
what a trooper.
Push yourself to the front of that line and get the first Uber. You just start yelling and screaming, you need to go to a wedding. We were prepared. If I needed to, we would have put music on and would have worked it out. But he came literally like 5-6 minutes before the wedding started. Couple knew nothing, and
that's incredible.
We went on our way. But
hats off to whoever that is. Good job. Wow.
So we've had those hiccups. Wow. So we've had hiccup like on the weekend. I wasn't happy with the tablecloth. The day, like, I was sitting there thinking. I'm like, I'm not happy. It's not sitting right with me. Went to Osborne Park, went to a material store, picked out the material I want, take it home, go sew it up, and it provided a tablecloth, like exactly what I wanted the next day. So, you know, if something happens with the florals and I need to fix them up, I know how to condition the flowers. I've done my training in these other industries that I know what to do.
We're going to teach you how to use a camera next.
I've got the camera, I've got a Canon, I just don't know how to use it.
Good luck.
Sitting there in the box.
The bloody... No, I'll get into it. Anyway, that's going to lead me perfectly to my next point. Planning, design, coordination. What's the difference? So you seem to do a lot as a planner. I don't think a lot of planners that I speak to do quite as much as you. But obviously there's still a distinguish between, you know, the planning side, the design side, and the coordination side. As an expert in the field, what would you say the distinguishing factors are?
Okay, so let's go with we'll start at the very end. So coordinator is not, so on the day coordinator isn't just on the day. Kind of on the day setup stuff that set up your tables or whatever, your DIY. We don't do any of that. But then you've got your wedding coordinator, and they start usually 6 to 8 weeks beforehand and pretty much take over where you've been planning, where you've designed. So they're more of each business is different as well. So for us, wedding coordination, we do charge higher and we just supervise. We don't, we might put the place cards and so forth, but it's also dependent on how many guests that you have as well. If you've got 300 guests at a wedding, Our coordinator can't go and put 300 place card and manage everyone at the same time as well. The coordinator should be just supervising all the vendors and making sure that the run sheet goes to plan, and they're helping put that run sheet together, and then ironing out any details. I find that sometimes you're replanning a wedding at coordination stage because things are missed because they simply just don't know what they're asking of vendors during that time. Or they might have booked in photography, but it's not short, like not long enough for... there's bits and pieces that are missed. Like blank canvas venues might not have washing services, like dishwashing services.
Okay.
So they might have only booked one glass per person.
Yep.
But I've got nowhere to wash the glasses.
Gotcha. Yep.
So now I'm going back and saying we need to go hire 3 times the amount. So we've got glasses, because there's no washing facilities.
So how does that differ to planning?
Planning, I already know. We've already planned it. So we'll say, okay, we've got a blank canvas venue. This is what we need to do. I don't give estimates straight off the back because everybody's design is completely different as well. So everybody's needs is different. You might have a marquee wedding where we've got 300 under the marquee. That's going to be a completely different setup to, say, a crown ballroom wedding of 180.
Yep.
You've got crown staff, you've got crown tables.
Yep.
Everything in a marquee needs to be brought in. Do we need to bring toilets in? There's all these little bits and pieces that they don't think about, power, generators, to keep the power on. Do we need different power banks to the generator so, DJ's not plugged into catering and then everything trips?
Yeah.
And
Power gives me anxiety.
Yeah. So it's all of these things. So planning, we're sourcing a venue. I prefer couples to come to us before they've got the venue.
Yeah.
Because they see the venue and they go, yep, this is great, but it might logistically not work for their wedding. So it might be a little bit of a nightmare we'll make it work, but you might not have that vision that you planned. Whereas if you came to us and said, this is the feel, this is the experience that we want, then we can go and search for that experience. Sometimes it's in Perth, sometimes it's down south, sometimes it's private properties, sometimes it's not in WA. So
yeah, the last part of that is the design. So obviously we've got that vibe, so it's that feeling, that emotion. Yeah.
I might ask for a few inspirational pieces, but in that first initial consultation, we'll actually go through what they like, what colours they like, textures and so forth, but really what type of vibe, what type of feeling that they want to experience, because they've got to combine experience with the look. It's not just about what it's going to look like. I don't do, this is a Pinterest board I like this bridal table and we're going to copy. That's not creativity.
Gotcha.
You're not paying for me to copy paste.
Yep.
You're paying me to find more about you and bringing your story together and producing something that you're proud to say, this is mine. Yep. I'll put it on Pinterest for people to copy that.
So you start with the planning.
That's
planning
right.
is your liaison in the initial phase, 1 to 2 years before, I'm guessing. Then
usually, we've planned weddings 6 weeks out as well. So it's just you bring it into a shorter time frame.
Yeah, sure.
But designing everything, I look at it as I was saying before, like a photographer and videographer. I look at it how it's going to come out on socials. Are you going to be able to print it and put it on your wall? Are you going to be proud of the photos that you've got? So yes, you're taking the photo and you've got to get the right photographer to take the photos, but I need to produce something that the photographer's really happy at taking as well. I also have to consider positions of, like, I might have a cake and I've got a table, but what's behind that cake and table? You might book out something on the river and you've got beautiful, Perth, and you've got all the lights and so forth. But what are you capturing if you're capturing the backdrop of where the couple is and them cutting the cake?
Yeah.
So are you utilising those spaces and lighting and so forth?
Yeah, that's important because if it's not thought through and you, let's say you do just get sparklers and you don't have a planner like yourself and your sparklers just go anywhere, I've seen some pretty questionable setups before, so I think it's quite important to think through all of those things. Yeah, that's an so do you provide all three of these, Vicky?
Absolutely, and concierge as well.
Concierge as well. Yeah,
so
okay,
concierge is one person that's dedicated to the couple, and they're with them for 6 to 8 hours, depending on what time that they need.
Yeah.
Could be in the morning, and they're just dedicated to the couple. They're watching their run sheet of when they need to be ready, but fetching them a glass of champagne, or with the photographer in the portraits and fixing their dress.
Gotcha.
To make sure everything's perfect. So it's more of that an extra experience for the couple to feel really truly like we're not getting the best man to grab the drinks and with I don't
think I've ever seen a concierge before like that.
You've got concierge that's with you, and they've got the drinks, and they're going out to the bridal party and handing them over.
We need that on our photo shoots. Bloody get Vicky, guys. Anyone booked me by get Vicky as well. She's worth it.
So even with the reception,
can you imagine that? Just have makeup artists running around with you all day, touch your hair up and stuff, make sure you bring your bubbles.
Not makeup artists, it's just like fetching and
where's
making
our concierge
sure
right now? I need my caffeine. Oh my gosh. Okay. So someone comes to you, Vicky, and they're like, all right, look, this all sounds really, really great. We have $100,000. How would you break that down between like various services? Let's say like let's use a number, $100,000. I don't know if anyone spends $100,000 on their weddings nowadays with this economy, but we'll go with it. How does it break down? Like what's the allocation?
Well, every couple is completely different, so I can't say what your allocation is going to be the same as the next person.
Yeah,
that's for starters. So.
Yeah, so okay, so where you're starting, so you're very client-centered, so you're obviously looking at it and you're going, what's important to you? So let's say I say to you, photography and videography is really important to me, and venue is really important to me. Where would we start with that? Like, what's the range in Perth kind of thing? As well.
Range of spend.
Spend. Yeah, let's go with that. I have no idea.
That again changes because
we can
not all of our weddings. I mean, for starters, we don't showcase all the weddings. Some clients like to be really, really personal and private. That's true, so we can't show you everything.
That's my biggest problem as well. On my portfolio is like, because I like to put my stuff up straight away so people know what I'm doing. But then some of them are like, oh, we don't want it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and I have to respect that.
You do, but you do,
I'm not. Yeah. I suppose. I mean, everything's not for Instagram as well. Everything's for your personal memories and so forth too.
That's the number one thing you have to remember. As much as I am big on Instagram, it's always the first thing in the contract, or not the first thing, but is it all right to be on Instagram? If it's not, it's fine. Just let us know first, And,
So I mean, weddings can range from it. I mean, it depends. It's like how how long's a piece of string? Because you've got some couples might only have 20 guests at their wedding and they want to spend $40,000, and then we've got couples that have got 120 guests and they only want to spend $60,000. From my point of view, it's not all just about the design and style. If people want to come to us because of we're pretty much floralize everything, make it big, make it better. Entertainment, I'm massive on entertainment. I'm massive on experience and moving around and not just sitting down for the 3-course dinner. So it's more experience. But then some couples come to us because they genuinely don't have the time to plan their wedding. They're not after the trendiest thing that's on Instagram. They don't want anything from Pinterest. They want just a nice table set, but they want everything included, like videographer, photographer. They want content creators. They want nice catering as well, but they don't have the time to put it together. So there's no real budget. It's speaking and listening, really truly listening to the client, and giving them what they want. It's not about me. I had my wedding. If I could redo it again in 2025, I would, but I don't have that luxury. I picked what was out at the time, and it was white chair covers with freaking organza.
I'm sure it was beautiful.
Anyway, the colours are coming around again. That's
they are coming around again. Colours are big. They're coming back in trend.
So just going.
What would you say the must-haves are? Must-haves. For the majority of for you.
Because I do advise as well. So for me, I think about photos, video, content.
So that's up there.
Gen Z with the reels. They love the reels, and I like them as well.
Content creation.
Yeah, the content creation.
Yes.
But really, finding the right content creator, because at the moment, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of content creators and anybody can grab an iPhone and take footage. But there's only a select few that really know how to put these things together and, fuse it and make it like a short little film.
Okay.
And then also understanding the way that
does content creation replace videography in a lot of no, not at all.
No.
Okay.
I mean, we use it a lot in our proposals because they're so short.
Yes.
And they want just that little highlight clip for their proposal. But in weddings, no, I don't think it is. And if a client thinks that a content creator is going to take over the position of a videographer, we're very clear to say these two are not the same. Videography is something there. It's like photography. There's a lot more detail, a lot more work in there. That's what I truly believe. Content creation's behind the scenes. That's how it started. And there's nothing wrong with having a content creator film your day, but you have to be clear that the expectation from the content creator can't produce, what a videographer can. He has completely different equipment. He pays for the equipment. He has experience with editing and so forth. Yeah. And that's why he's a lot more expensive.
Absolutely true. It's the way it is. Content creation isn't as quality as videography. Videography is a lot more difficult. Look, just the way we film it. So when I came into videography professionally in 2023, after doing it as a hobby for many years, it was learning a whole new thing. I had to learn about the log profiles and how to film in a log profile. Various cameras have different log profiles, and what a log profile is like the raw format on a filming of a photo, sorry. So it's like the raw photography version on film. So you need to learn how to film in a grayscale, and then you need to learn how to bring the color back into it and color grade it and transfer it into a regular Rec 709 image as your image on screen. Then on top of that, you need to learn all your codecs. There's various codecs, and then there's various formats within the codecs that you all need to learn. So it's just the technical side alone on how to actually produce a single video file, and then your DaVinci Resolve, your editing, or your Premiere Pro, which is your editing, and then the technicalities and how to move as a videographer as well, because it's very difficult to hold a 12 kilogram camera all day and keep it steady and keep it fluid and keep it moving. It doesn't have the same software as a phone does, which is, kind of stabilizes it and, keeps it all together. So there's a whole nother set of skills with videography. And it's like that, it's like with anything, you can get that 90% quality, but that extra 10% that brings it from normal to extraordinary, from a phone to a film. It's a big jump. It's enormous. And then that last 1%, that brings you from a hobbyist to a professional, that's even larger. And I'm still learning that last 1% today, so it's not easy to do. It's very different, I think, at least. I
think you still need skill. You definitely still need skill in content creation. Like you can't just grab a camera and, do that. But the couples need to understand that there's a different expectation for a content creator than there is videography. Yes. Content can't reproduce what a camera can. So I love content. Like, have a look at Instagram. I love it as well.
I'm friends with a lot of content creators, and they're great. I speak with one who's a photographer and content creator, and we had this very in-depth conversation about how photography and content creation overlaps and how they don't overlap. And
that's right.
There's various things that are good with both, but they're not the same. They're just
exactly.
not. So it's good to hear that people aren't replacing videography, and they understand their differences, and I think there needs to be more education towards that as well. What are the differences, and giving people what they value, I think is the main thing. Giving people what they actually want to have on their day and what they actually value. But I'm really interested in that allocation of budget. So I'm just so curious.
You've got to look at it, like I said, it depends on how many people coming. It depends on what's included as well. Some people want extra inclusions in the cocktail hour, and they want oyster shuckers and gelato carts and the rest of it as well, and some people don't. So you really got to listen to the couple and hear what they're saying, how they want the day, and then work it from there. And to be honest, usually your styling budget comes last. Like that's the main portion of the budget goes to food and beverage.
Yep.
That's a must. Nobody wants to leave
and what's like the percentage towards that usually?
Yeah, but I can't answer that because your budget for photography might be 10% at one stage, but they really love photography and they might want to get a photographer in from the East Coast, which is going to cost maybe $15,000, and now you've just taken 30% of the budget. But before we book all these in, we're having those talks with our client.
Yep.
This is what's going to happen. We're either going to go over budget, or you're going to have to like scale it back as well, because what you love and what you can afford are two different things as well.
Yeah, okay. And may I ask, what's the general range of how much people are spending on food and beverage nowadays? What's like the range of a venue? We're talking like, I don't know.
Each venue is completely different as well, but you could be spending, I mean, I haven't seen anything under about 180
per head.
Yeah.
And what does it
There's
generally
a lot
go
more
up
than
to?
what I spent, but
Yeah. What's the so 180 per head's like the min range? What's the max range on like food and beverage nowadays?
listen, you can go easily to $300-$400 per head.
Easily,
Yeah.
okay. Right, gotcha.
Yeah. If you want something that's entry
Right.
level luxury, I would be budgeting about roughly around 1,000 per person.
1,000 per person.
Yeah.
Wow, that's up there, eh? God. Okay.
Well, no, like that's going to include everything, but that's just an average.
Yeah,
That's just
gotcha.
an average. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's really good to know. It's really
I mean,
interesting.
but we're cheap. Perth is cheap
Perth's
compared
cheap.
to the rest of the world.
Perth is cheap. We got to be honest. Yeah.
This whole idea of let's go to Bali, get married, you might not necessarily be paying less, but you get more inclusions. You want to go to Italy, it's, starting price is, 120,000 euros. So
Whoa, that's a big jump.
that's exactly right. So
Well, my photographer and videographer, we're going to Portugal, and they're costing a lot more than what they would charge here.
Well,
And,
yeah, hair and makeup, you'd be looking at around hair's around about €3 to €350 for hair over in Italy, whereas here, it's nowhere near as much.
Well, same as photo and video is the same from what I can see. Like how much we're spending and how much we're getting and what we're doing, and to transfer it and see how like the packages in Perth are. But Perth's a weird market at the moment. I got to say, I think we've got I don't know. It's a bit saturated at the moment in my space, at least in the photo and film space. I always come back to those Facebook groups. Have you ever stumbled into those Facebook groups?
I can't handle Facebook groups, so I don't go there.
Don't go there. It's I
can get quite reactive.
It's a mess at the moment, Vicky. I'm going to be honest. Like if you get into those Find Me photography groups and a couple posts, like I'm looking for a photographer, you can be seeing maybe 2-3 months out from a wedding, anywhere between 50 to 150 comments on that post. 50 to 150 comments.
Yeah.
Photographers trying to get the job a few months out. It's just insane, like to see that many people in the industry, it's not good. It really isn't that good. And I think the problem is that a lot of people came into it during COVID, and there was a lot of work and a lot of abundance post COVID, and a lot of people were making a lot of money and were thinking there could be the careers. And then unfortunately things kind of stumped in the wedding space, it seems, and there's a lot of people left over, and it's a horrible reality, but I don't want to, sugarcoat it. I think it's just what it is.
Not. And if something was to happen again, weddings are a luxury.
Yes.
Travel is a luxury. That's the first two to go. And that's where I've positioned all my businesses in travel and weddings. So, but I enjoy it. I couldn't think of doing anything else. And I said, the day that I don't enjoy it, the day that I wake up, that I wish I wasn't going to an event or a wedding, is the day I'm out. I'll fulfill all my jobs, but I will no longer take on more clients, because it's not fair for our couples to have somebody there that's not all in. This industry, you have to be all in.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Sometimes, it's nice to say have this work-life balance and everything like that, and you need to worry about yourself and your emotional state and so forth. No, that's not true. This is somebody's wedding. They can't redo it. You need to give yourself 100%. There's not one wedding after how many years that I don't get up in the morning, I'm still stressed out. I still have the nightmares of I've woken up late. 5 o'clock wake-ups for me stress me out. I'm up every single hour on the dot, because I can't redo. I can't say, I'm sorry it didn't work out.
That's the thing with a wedding is just the pressure, eh?
And the thought of making one of the family members upset on their day, that terrifies me. So I'm making sure everything's checked over, and I'm walking through that wedding. I'm sleeping. I'm dreaming about that wedding. A hiccup will happen in my dream, and I'm like, go back and just make sure logistically it can't happen.
Yeah.
So No, there is no work-life balance. There's sometimes that we miss our own family's birthdays. Like I've missed several of my family's events because I'm there.
I'm same.
And how many events that I can't attend, how many trips I can't attend because I've booked your day 18 months in advance.
Yep.
So if you've booked me specifically, then I'm there. I'm not going to say, okay, oh, by the way, I've got a trip that's come up. You'll go with one of the other coordinators. If you've paid for me to be at your wedding, I will be there at your wedding. But that's us as a whole. Your wedding is our wedding because it just is.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same. Look, but that's what a wedding, specifically a wedding supplier, should be that, and that's why the way I'm structuring my businesses is weddings the top end service. You know, that's what we provide, and we don't over supply it. You know, because if you oversupply it, you start to diminish your service. But I don't want to, you know. It's hard to make a career as a wedding photographer only because you're seasonal, you're competing against many other people, it's a saturated market. So I'm layering my services, you know. So you have your top tier service, which is you're giving it everything. You know, you're waking up at 5 a.m, you're making sure everything's, you know, you're having your nightmares about it. But then you also have your lesser tier service, just like a flight line does it. You know, flight line, you know, how do they structure it? You know, most of their revenue comes from the top seat, you know, the number one top seat, but then they have all these other seats, you know, to fill the plane and to, you know, get the advertising through and to get the marketing through and to keep things ticking over. And I think that's how I think about it as well. You know, I kind of layer it a little bit, but my weddings and the weddings that I do, I give everything to that. And the way I do that is, you know, you have your bread and butter, you have your things that are ticking you over, but your weddings are the things that you love, the things that you do and the things that you want to supply to the best of your ability. You need to make sure that you're able to actually give it everything you have, right? And yeah, I don't want to be stretching myself thin on too many weddings, doing 60, 70, 100 weddings a year, like some people do. And I don't know how they do it, you know, like you just I'd lose my mind.
You've got to sit down and you've got to go, what's right for me? What do I want? Where do I want to fit in the market? Do you want to help DIY brides? Do I want to help the midsection? Do I want to be in luxury? You need to put your side.
That's true as well. Yeah.
And run your own course. Yeah. If I look at every other wedding planner and go, they're doing this, they're doing that, I'll be fighting internally with myself.
You send yourself
for what
crazy.
Reason.
Yeah, you send yourself crazy.
Yeah, but if I show the client, this is what I do, this is how I help you. I don't care if the wedding planner down the road, she doesn't do RSVPs and dietaries and so forth. I set a standard of what I want my business to be, how I want it to run, and that's how I operate. Yep. I've been told before, if I'm working 18 hours a day, I'm doing it all wrong. No, I'm doing it wrong in your eyes. To me, that's normal.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't give any less. I've been told, why are you taking phone calls after 5 o'clock? Because that's what the client pays for. They pay a premium to be able to get me at any time of the day. I don't go to bed until 1 o'clock in the morning anyway, so taking a message at 11 o'clock, but I want them to know that they've got peace of mind that somebody's there. If anything that comes, if any other industry, photo, video, hire, whatever it is, our couple's biggest grieves are that vendors don't contact them back. They haven't heard back from them for 3, 4, 5, 6 days or a week. I've seen some office replies, we'll get back to you next week. Like, you're operating a business.
Yes.
Would you be okay if the doctor said, we've got your email inquiry, we'll get back to you in a week, but you're sick, you need somebody now.
Yes.
It's emotional. They need somebody to just say, listen, it's okay. I've heard you, I understand, it's there. But they're not getting that, and then they get really anxious.
Yes. And
that's coming from like with the coordination. That's what comes through from vendors, but it's not also vendors, it's us waiting on other vendors. So if all I could say was, I suppose, to the industry as a whole, is to really look at like the back end, and I know that it's hard.
How long are you responding to
but
emails?
This
and
is where collaboration comes in, where vendors have to come together to say, I need some help. And if it's getting a VA between 3-4 businesses, and saying that the people in your industry are not your competition, they're your friends. If I am sick for a wedding and they're expecting me, I've got 2 to 3 wedding planners I can call tomorrow and say, this is what's happening. These are my systems. Can you please take over? But if I'm in competition with everybody, who am I going to go to?
No, you don't want competition in our industry. It's too small. It's too tight. And
there are couples for everyone. We might offer the same services. It might come down to personality. They might like you better than me. That's fine. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
It's their day. It's
Well,
not mine.
I think it's to a point. I think there is a lot of competition. I think it's a winners take all market, my industry at least, and that's the brutal truth of it. And nowadays, if you're not on with the marketing in photography and videography, you're not in it. And that's just how it is. You need to be a marketer, and you need people to support you. And that's what I've realized. And that's why I've got staff. It's because I don't think I could do it on my own. It's not possible.
No, but you have to understand business. So you have to understand each of those processes. Otherwise, you get taken advantage of.
Yes.
Just like, I suppose, if you don't understand cakes, not that I've ever heard of it before, but I'm just trying to make a comparison. Say that you don't know anything about cakes and say, I've got 150 people coming to the wedding. I want a cake for 150 people. And that person doesn't qualify the customer and says, okay, we're going to do 150 dessert pieces, but they've already got dessert being served. That's a big wastage of cake. It's a big waste of money. You don't understand. But if you understand exactly what that person does because you've asked the questions, and it also comes from the vendor explaining and educating as well. So, yes, they might want to go get 2, 3, 4 quotes. That's fine.
Yes.
That's no problem.
It's not a problem.
If I have to change my tyres, I might call 3, 4, 5 different tyre companies to see what the best price is.
Yes.
Then I'll see what does this tyre do that tyre doesn't.
Yes.
So I need to learn about that.
Yes.
It's about education, and you have to be willing to pass on that education.
Yes.
So same as business.
But I really like what you say, where it's absolutely in terms of having a network of people that you're connecting with, and that there are other professionals that you're working with who are doing it full time, which is who I work with as full time professionals. Is those people, you can't have enemies. You don't want enemies. You don't want to have it as competition. No, you want to have friends. I make friends with all the photographers. I don't care if they're charging $100 an hour, $700 an hour, $2,000 an hour. Like, I'll take the time to sit down and have a podcast with anyone. I'll make friends with anyone. I'll have a relationship with various different people. I might not work with them in professional capacity, but I would like to get to know people. I get to know the entire industry, and I don't want to be an asshole. I think it's about being a good person and being a good person across the board. Valuing your clients and giving clients what they deserve, and valuing other professionals and giving what other professionals deserve. Referring work on and not being competitive to that extent.
But it's all about the couple, whether it's your client or not.
Always
it's about the couple.
Always.
And even with any industry, it's about educating and explaining to that couple what their expectations should be, and being realistic about that. So
expectations are very hard to set, though, and
expectations come from something that you don't understand 100%, unless you know 100% and say this is what I expect, but then you know what to expect to pay as well. So if you, it's like making an assumption. That assumption, like photography, he's offered an 8-hour package. Why is he charging so much for 8 hours? But you didn't put in your service guide that it's not 8 hours.
How
it's
do you reckon
25.
we can communicate that better and set those expectations better?
I have it in my service guide. Exactly this is what the spend is. So we've got, say for a comparison, like a marquee wedding. And this is what I'll say to couples when they first come in for the meeting, is if you've got a marquee wedding, that's more time, that's more money. I can't make it cheaper than what it is. If you want cheaper, if you want budget, we need to go find a venue where we've got tables, tablecloths, knives and forks, glassware, cutlery, the works. But if you want, you need to show them what they should expect as well. So this is what you should expect if you want a photographer that's going to charge you $2,500 for 6 hours. These are your expectations. And I say don't expect like the world from them. But if you've got 15,000 and they're this is what's included, and this is the behind the scenes of what's happening. I can explain it, but I need to understand the workings around it to be able to then explain that to the client. So for me, I can say that marquee wedding, 250 people, I need 10 people on site for 6 hours to set up your marquee. Why?
Gotcha.
Because the hire company is going to come in and we need to count all those knives, all those forks, all those plates to make sure we've got the right count first. There's no point in setting the table and going, I'm 10 short. Did we count? No. So then we've got to set the table. We've got to steam the linen.
So you're really spelling it out.
Exactly.
A, B, C.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
But if I go,
I try and do that as well, you know.
well, if you go
In
buy
video form as well.
something tomorrow, you've got no idea what it's about.
Yeah.
If you don't learn about it,
Yeah.
you can easily overpay.
Yes.
I don't mind overpaying, but I want to know what I'm paying for.
Correct.
So if I know what I'm paying for and I know, okay, these people are going to go kill themselves in 42-degree heat under a clear marquee,
Yeah. Okay.
you know, and they're going to spend this many hours doing it.
Yeah.
I understand that, and I'm going to go, okay. That's like, I don't know, sell me a car and then tell me why I should pay $20,000 more for this model. You're going to sell it to me, and the car salesman will say, but it's got this, it's got this, it's got this, it's got the extras. This is the basic model. That's just part of sales. Sales is about, what's it called? Explaining and educating. Sales is all about educating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think sales is about kind of explaining, understanding what the clients value and helping them find that, you know, helping the clients actually explore what they're looking for, what they're after, and providing them with something that's actually going to meet those things. So they're actually purchasing things that they value. That's how I think of it, at least, is I'm not trying to push stuff down people's throats. I'm not trying to force people to upsell and buy up and buy something more expensive than what they want to. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to explain, like you do, this is the cost of it and this is what's included. Do you value this or not? This is this is another option. This is another option. And I'm trying to just meet the clients where they're at and trying to provide them with a package that's going to actually suit their day and suit what they're looking for without making them feel really overwhelmed and over the top. We have a few viewers in here at the moment, so let us know if you have any questions. Vicky is a luxury event and wedding planner, so you definitely want to ask questions if you are curious about what we're talking about. Vicky, we've been going for this conversation for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I'm just been looking at the clock going, she probably needs to get somewhere. This woman's busy.
I can talk for like
She does 18-hour days. She does all the weddings that are top of the line, and she does all of the luxury event stuff, so she's onto it, guys. All right, look, I'm going to ask one more question because we have a few photographers in here at the moment. As a wedding planner, what are the do's and don'ts for photographers? Ask photographers, what should we do? What shouldn't we do? What are the most annoying things a photographer can do to impact your wedding timeline?
Listen, I work with
Some
really
horror
good photographers.
stories.
No,
Come
I
on.
don't actually have horror stories about photographers. I work with really good photographers that we are all on the same page, and it is about that collaboration again. And understanding. So I'll write a draft run sheet.
So what about the do's? What can we do to make your day or make the timeline flow better?
I think communication with the wedding planner first before promising a couple something and then not understanding the logistics of what's happening at the wedding as a whole.
So like promising them certain style of photos and then...
not style, because that's chosen at the very beginning. We'll give them the portfolios, so they'll be able to go have a look at the portfolios on our system, and they'll say, I really like this photographer, and then we'll reach out obviously to the photographer and work the styles out from then. It's more, I suppose, if like this is really, really nitpicky, but with any vendor, if you're not coming to the wedding as a collaborative person, this is where it drives me insane. If you think you're superior to even a coordinator, not you.
No, I'm with you.
But I'm just saying,
I'm with
any vendor that comes with this mentality, I'm better than you mentality, I don't do well with that.
Do you see that often?
I have seen vendors come there that don't like to collaborate.
Right.
And I've been in the industry longer than you. I know better than you.
Yes.
And
Gotcha.
not happening. Like we are all, this is not about you, me. Have your ego on the side tomorrow. I don't care. Call me and say, I've been here for 15, 20 years and I know better than you. At the time, this is about the couple and bringing it together.
I think it's maybe time to get out of the industry. Get out. Let the new people come in.
No, I just don't like I don't do the I'm superior to you. And the majority of vendors that we've worked with and do continue to work with, they don't have that mentality. If we're running behind in something, they will, on the way out, do you need a hand with anything? And if I can see they're maybe running a little bit behind, we're over there. Can I help you? What can I do? How can we help to make this happen.
That collaboration is so important. Who doesn't do that? Who doesn't want to collaborate on the day?
I've been told by a DJ before, because he wasn't quite happy with the setup, that if the people didn't dance, it was all on me. And I said,
all on you,
all on me. If the people
as the
didn't dance,
as a planner,
yeah.
because the
So
setup.
if the people didn't dance, it was due to your set.
Bloody hell, Vicky, what are you doing?
So,
Setup's
yeah.
just horrible.
Listen,
Oh my God.
I've had my moments, and I've when we're on site, we're on site. I'm there for. I'm not there for any other vendor. I'm there for the couple, and that's it. And it's going to be done.
That's
and
what
it's
it
going to
should
be
be like.
done to as close to plan as possible. Tomorrow I'll call and I'll apologise for throwing out a few swear words, but at the time it's about collaborating and bringing it together.
That's what I think as well. I think if you're gonna be a wedding vendor, you want to you're doing for the couple, and the way you do it for the couple is you collaborate and you work with the other suppliers in an efficient way.
So over the years, I managed to be able to sift through and do my research and work with the vendors and know who comes late. I know who comes late. I'm not going to say who comes late, but I know who comes late because in my run sheets, I schedule them to be an hour earlier than what they need to be, because I know that they're constantly late. So that's but that's the experience that comes with being a wedding planner.
Gotcha.
That's the experience couples need to know, that we understand what goes where. We've worked in the venues many times. Not just come in, put stuff, Crystal Club's not the easiest place to get up to back end as well.
No, yeah, clear.
So, I mean, the amount of times I still don't know how to come up. But yeah.
So what do you do up there? You do proposals up there?
We've done proposals, weddings, ceremony weddings.
Yeah, beautiful.
We had the
Never
wedding
done a
there
ceremony
last
up there.
week.
I've done events up there quite often, actually. Crystal Club's lovely. Yeah.
But there's a lot of work that goes into putting a Crystal Club wedding together or event, and every vendor knows that that's not the easiest place to bump into. You don't have wide accesses and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's
now thinking about
logistical.
it, I've only brought a couple of camera bags up there before. I haven't actually brought all of the stuff that you would have to bring. So yeah, probably
It's
crowns are
quite
pain.
difficult.
Crowns are pain in general. You got to.
I love it.
You love it, then you hate it. Oh, they're check. They've got online on the check-in process though. We haven't been checking in.
So this is what I'm saying. Couples don't know what we're talking.
Crown,
we know what the check-in process is.
So with Crown, every time you get booked there, they send you a document that you need.
So your paperwork.
And
then you'll need to go there sometimes up to an hour earlier just to check in as a registered worker.
Get your little thingamabob,
so,
and you go through.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It needs to be educated to the clients. They don't know any different.
It's a horrible nightmare. So yeah, it's about 2 hours of pre-work about that to get that done. I don't know. Look, my favorite venue is Optus. I love Optus. They just let me in and I go up and they have my insurance and everything there. So good. I like you guys. Yeah, who else? Yeah, I have a few good venues that I work with. But Vicky, we've been chatting for an hour and a half. We should wrap it up because you probably got stuff to do. I have stuff to do. I have like 60 emails sitting there. So we'll move on with the day. But Vicky, it was an absolute pleasure to have this conversation. No, absolutely. No, you definitely do really good for your couples. I think I could see, can really see that what you do is very, centered on what the clients are hoping for.
I mean, like I said, I've got my goals. My goals are my clients to make sure that they've had an amazing experience, not just on the day. My goals are for my vision is for this industry as well. There's a lot of work. People don't recognize the work that goes into our industry. Planners, stylists, coordinators, everybody is misunderstood. But absolutely got to stop reducing fees and rates just to get jobs. You will find a client. There is a client out there for everyone. I think
that needs to be a take-home message for everyone is that, let's all stop putting the 50% discounts up and the 20% discounts up all over the internet and the free photo shoots and whatever else people are doing at the moment. Let's just stop it, move on and start to kind of,
just add your value and
add
show
your value,
your worth.
yeah. And don't focus on what other people are doing as well, right?
No.
And, like you do, Vicky, design a good service. Design a really good service that people value, and tunnel vision. Be aware of the competition, be aware of what's around, be aware of you, the people who you're collaborating with. But at the same,
it's not like I go on Instagram and go have a look at all the wedding planners, what they're doing in Perth as well. Of course, that's human nature to want to know.
But you don't need to get obsessed with it.
I'm not worried about what the wedding planner down the road is focusing on. Like, you focus in your own lane and they'll focus in theirs, and whoever's meant to go to whoever's meant to go to will go. I believe like your clients will come to you.
Yes. And that's what every successful wedding supplier said to me as well. You know, design your service and then find the people that relate with you.
Exactly.
And over time it will happen. And it's a hard trajectory to stay on though, and it's not easy. So hats off to everyone. Hats off to yourself, Vicky. You're doing amazing things. So it was a pleasure to have you on. Thanks. I think couples and photographers and planners alike are going to get a lot of really great value. We don't have anyone in here at the moment, so this is a good time to wrap it up. So everyone, that was Vicky. We are all good to finish up. Thanks very much for watching the JD Photo Podcast, supported by Rode. Go check them out. Rode do really phenomenal stuff. Just don't get stuck in their updates. Peace out, everyone.
Thank you. I told you.